Welcome to another new episode of True of My Chest. Let's start with first news story, posted by Slab Bulk Beef. My son was married yesterday. It was beautiful. I have Asperger's and apologize in advance for anything non-linear. A bit of history. Shortly after my ex became pregnant, my roommates and I got into a fight. I'm a large man and was a full-time bouncer. The fight scared her, and then my roommates filled her head with nonsense, telling her that I was abusive and a convicted felon and murderer. She was extremely religious, as is her entire family. She decided I was to have nothing to do with our child. Our son was the youngest of my children, having two previously with my ex-wife. I paid child support for 21 years. I worked every day with no sick days nor vacations. 18 years of 2 full-time jobs and a part-time job. The judge in domestic relations was nationally lauded because of her no-nonsense stance and financially holding men accountable. My fatherly obligation was a financial one and nothing more. I paid in child support much more than what I made. Legally they could only take 15% of your check. You were expected to send the rest in, or you build arrears, and she will jail you. She held me in contempt when I argued that working so much took away any time to see my kids. So I worked all the time. Every weekly payday. After paying my child support, I was left with $300. I didn't smoke, drink or have anything that wasn't a life necessity. I was homeless several times. Anyway, I tried to see him. She told me he has Asperger's as I do, and he didn't want to see he doesn't, and he did. I figured change would be bad for him, as I greatly struggle with changes. So I never took her to court, and I honestly couldn't afford it. I was angers. My 2 older children want nothing to do with me as I wasn't there. Their mom chose money and trashing me. When I couldn't afford presents, she just told them I got them nothing because I didn't care. Those relationships are damaged beyond repair. I'm deeply hurt. 3 years ago my youngest showed up at my door. He looks just like me. I had never seen him his entire life. He turned 18 and went against his mom's advice and found me. We hung out. I met his girlfriend. We hung out and had a great time. He told my current wife that he's shocked about how nice and kind I am and how I'm nothing like his family has been saying for years. We have a beautiful relationship. He's so much like me but better, not jaded yet. He was married last night. I was invited to the wedding. I was there to support my son and his now lovely wife. I was sat far away with his wife's mother's best friend. We had a blast. Her entire family was so sweet and kind to me. They love my son. He's nothing like his family. He's like I am. So whilst his fundamentalist Christian family sized me up and snubbed me, her entire family accepted me. It was wonderful. They told me stories about how my son and his wife bragged about how amazing I am, how he understands why he is the way he is. I cried. That was 21 years of struggle and hate and rage, and it was all worth it. I'm honored that I was invited. I harbor hatred. Intense hatred. I lost my ability to be a father. I hate that I, along with many others, were failed by institutions. I hate that the mothers of my children both chose money over everything else. I never had a choice. I was a financial slave. I worked myself into being crippled. I hate that I didn't know better and couldn't find a way out. I hate that I hate. The world beat me up. I didn't recover well. I hate that I lost 2 of my kids. I'm thankful for my youngest son. I'll do everything I can till I die to make sure he doesn't end up like me. At least I made a bunch of horrible people very uncomfortable last night. People have given some suggestion to OP on this post. Let's see. First suggestion from Marianne. Better than that. You made your son and his wife, who have so much love for you, very happy. Next suggestion from Learn or Die. From one big man, 210 centimeters tall and over 135 kilograms, to another. You can't change the past, my friend, but you should still be proud. Just think, despite all the slandering and painting you in the worst possible way by your ex's entire family, your son still turned out to be someone good-natured and smart enough to find you and see for himself. My mother, who worked as a court clerk all her life, always said that if you want justice, you will rarely find it in the courts. Instead of thinking about the past, think about the future. There is a good chance that you will soon be a grandfather. Next suggestion from Back At It Again. If they have kids you will be a wonderful grandfather. But now you can be the amazing friend and mentor. I'm happy for you. Next suggestion from Dineko from the north. As I don't have children, I cannot say that I'm able to relate. I do have Asperger's, but that's where our comparisons stop. But I'm still getting choked up reading this. So glad you were there for your boy's big day. Next suggestion from Darkhaven Witch. What did your ex say when she found out you were coming? Were her and her family mean to you? You might have harbored hate, but she has a hateful spirit. I'm glad you get to finally be with him again. The ex has a day coming. Her family, and those so-called friends of hers. You can't just mess with someone's life like this and not have it come back around onto you. Everything always comes back. Let's read today's second news story, posted by Any Concentrate 4400. I scared my fiancé away from marrying me. Throw away because he knows I use Reddit. The title only says so much about the situation. He and I have had a loving relationship for the last 2 years and a half. He proposed to me this past February. We were so happy and picked our venue and started with some of the planning. We still have a year to go, so we had been leisurely figuring it out. Hit the fan last week when he went on a trip to Hawaii by himself. I have bad abandonment or attachment issues and a mood disorder for which I take meds and go to therapy every 2 weeks, so I feel everything 10x more than the average person. No excuse for what follows below. I essentially feel like the whole world is ending when he's gone. Anyways, I was anxious, angry, and sad that he left. I couldn't eat, or even work. I wasn't functioning, and even doing things that I love to do by myself felt like too much, because I was doing it just to cover being upset. Whenever he leaves, even for boys night, my instinct is to not talk to him, but this time he'd be gone for a whole week. I was freaking out from even the day before he left. I told him he couldn't take my luggage. I refused to give him a ride to the airport, and the last thing I said to him before he left the house was "F you." Well, as the week went by it all got worse. I was texting vile things to him just to disrupt his trip. I told him to die, to f off, that I didn't love him, that I could do better than him, that I hoped his trip was miserable, and told him I hated the friend that he went with. I did so in what looking back was a creepy obsessive way. This was the whole time he was gone, but it got worse the day before he came back. He was going to dinner with his friend and I convinced myself he was ignoring me, so I told him that I decided that I'd call him repeatedly just to f with him. I regret this so much. I left him over 40 missed calls. He found it disturbing and said he didn't want to talk to me. The next day I wanted to die of remorse. I punished myself by reading the definition of disturbing a million times and asking myself why did I do that, and so sad that I fit the definition of disturbing. I apologized the next day, expressed my remorse and my understanding that calling him over 40 times was absolutely inappropriate. Of course his friend found out and even freaked out thinking I'd call him too. I wouldn't. As part of my apology and wanting to make things better, I offered to get him from the airport, which I initially refused to do. It was so awkward it felt like standing in front of a total stranger. Radio silence in the car. I don't blame him for it. He said we needed to talk. Those words are so scary. He didn't break up with me, but told me that he reached out to other friends, his parents and siblings, to tell them what happened. They all said I'm emotionally abusive and don't support our wedding. Now he wants to push back the date, which is heartbreaking to me. His words to me have been, I don't know how you'll do it, but you have to fix this mess. I can't do this without my family and friends. They don't support this anymore. I'm afraid our relationship is only going to bleed out until it dies. I don't know how I can even show changes in my behavior in less than a year. I burned an insane amount of bridges and now I see an abuser in every mirror. I'm so embarrassed about this that I don't even know if I can tell my therapist. I want to crawl under a rock and die. This isn't the first time I blow up a partner's phone. It happened about 5 years ago or more, and it's when I first sought help. This time I feel hopeless and helpless. People have given some suggestion to OP on this post. Let's see. First suggestion from Tired and Short. I mean this in the kindest way possible, but this is insane. You need to go to therapy way more often than every 2 weeks. I'm sorry, but none of this is an excuse to verbally abuse your partner in an attempt to control them. It's one thing to have inner turmoil, it's a whole other thing to bring that to the outer world. You need to intensely commit yourself to therapy, and finding meds at work way better. I hate to be guessing around here, but is it BPD? Next suggestion from Forshoreth. This honestly sounds so familiar. I wasn't standing in your shoes, but your fiancé's. I've had an ex text me or say awful things like this before anytime he thought he did not have control over me. Being on the end of this treatment is honestly so exhausting. I turned into a shell of the person I used to be. Thankfully I got out of that, but he still won't leave me alone. You seriously need to get more help than just every 2 weeks. I feel for your fiancé, truly. Edit. I put twice a week, was corrected that it was every 2 weeks. Next suggestion from JTJ. I have bad abandonment or attachment issues, and a mood disorder for which I take meds, and go to therapy every 2 weeks, so I feel everything 10x more than the average person. Whatever you are doing isn't work. Ask for a referral to a BPD specialist. Worry less about repairing your relationships and worry more about how to better manage your symptoms, because you will never be able to sustain healthy relationships without doing that first. Next suggestion from Cloud. I'm shocked he didn't break up with you. I would have. You are being extremely controlling, and you tried to ruin his trip. Those are memories he'll never forget about. I'm not sure how he can get past that without extra help. I'd have told my son to break up with you, because you'll just get even more controlling after marriage. Next suggestion from Personal Impress. You should realize you are not able to be in a healthy relationship and not marry him. Don't make him have to be the bad guy. Let's read today's third news story, posted by Specialist VChard 1573. My parents took the guy who sad me to breakfast. I'm a female, age of 23. A few years ago I was sad by my best friend, male, age of 25. We can call him Lee. Him and my husband, we were just dating at the time, lived together and they were best friends, which is how we became friends. I had spent the night, I got a little drunk, and they convinced me that it was okay if we all slept in the same bed. Even drunk me was against this. When I woke up the next morning, I found Lee grabbing me and putting his hand where it shouldn't be. I froze. It was terrifying, especially with my husband laying asleep right next to me. Fast forward, they are no longer friends and don't live together. My parents didn't understand what happened, so I told them the truth. Exactly what happened. I think they thought I was lying. This isn't the first time this has happened to me actually, and I've told them about the other time as well. Ironically a very similar story, but with an ex. A year goes by, and my husband and I have a house. This house is near the center of our small town, which has a fair and go-kart races every year on the streets. It goes right in front of our house. My parents usually work the races as to help out. Unfortunately, so does Lee. Both we working at the intersection right in front of our house. When I went to go say hi to my other family that was sitting on my porch, I saw my dad and mom getting out of their truck, and what I saw next tore me to shreds. It was Lee getting out of the truck. I asked my mom why she would take the man who broke me out to breakfast. She didn't give me a real answer. I had the most amount of panic attacks that day. My husband was gone for the weekend as he was in the National Guard, so I was alone with family that didn't support me. My dad always said he would hurt someone if they ever did anything to me. But here he was, taking him out to breakfast, like old pals. I told them later that day how it bothered me, and they told me I should just get over it. Now every year my husband and I leave the house and do something fun. I still love my parents, but I don't think I could ever forgive them for that. People have given some suggestion to OP on this post. Let's see. First suggestion from Ordinary Mortgage. Stop entertaining your parents. I'm not getting over it. You as my parents are supposed to protect me, but you would rather play buddy with a guy who can't keep his damn hands to himself. So either you keep him away from me, or you stay the hell out of my life. Next suggestion from Blunt and Truthful. They seriously did that. They are fools, go permanent, no contact with them permanently from now on, holy heck, yikes and G's. Next suggestion from Moist Tackle. I think they thought I was lying. For whatever reason, I think they still think you were lying. Next suggestion from childless MILF. Your parents sound like awful people. I'm so sorry. Next suggestion from no reply at all. You need your parents to understand your pain. Go no contact with them until they apologize. Don't give in. If your parents give you any pushback, tell them you just can't get over them siding and hanging with your abuser. Let's read today's fourth news story, posted by 1983 Ohio. My husband told me I need a tummy tuck. I had twins 5 years ago. I finally got to my pre-pregnancy weight now. It was extremely difficult. I needed the help of a personal trainer to help lose the weight and get some help with loose skin. But unfortunately I can't do anything about the loose saggy skin other than cosmetic surgery. I went to doctors and they said I would need a cosmetic surgery like a tummy tuck. It all goes down to genetics. Some women are lucky, but I'm not one of them. My husband told me I needed a tummy tuck and he said I should get a mommy makeover too because he said my boobs are dropping. This hurt my feelings because I already know all of this, but I don't need to hear it from everybody. We got quoted $10,000 for the tummy alone and not even including the tit lift. I just feel like shit about myself. I'm also scared to get the tummy tuck because it's an invasive surgery like my C-section. Recovery felt like the worst pain in the world, so I can't even imagine the tummy tuck. People have given some suggestion to OP on this post. Let's see. First suggestion from Ordinary Brilliant. Hope he knows what the recovery for looks like if you do this. If he's a hands-off dad, you are going to need a nanny and lots of help. I have nothing against plastic surgery, but you should do it if you want it. Next suggestion from Independent Peace. I'm petty as F, so would be pointing out every bit of surgery he'd need. Next suggestion from Crystal Queen. Posts like this make me so mad. I officially hate your husband. Next suggestion from Many Keats. Breast lifts leave awful scars. I'd like one, but the scars can look worse than the sagging. He might be picturing that you'll look the same as you did before, but you won't. Next suggestion from Hippo Fuzz. I hate your husband and I suspect many people hate your husband, and I wonder how you don't hate your husband yet. Thank you.